Asus ROG's original Ally from last year was one of the first Windows handhelds from a major manufacturer, following the success of Valve's Steam Deck. And while it was a first-gen product, it actually delivered a solid mobile gaming experience. At least if your commutes or general time away from the wall weren't longer than an hour, since that's basically all you were able to get out of this sleek white gaming console before needing to charge it up again. With the Ally X, Asus announced the update almost exactly a year later, and while we already had some initial hands-on time with it during Computex a few weeks ago, we finally got a review sample in the studio. And while most changes, alongside the much bigger battery of course, or more quality of life improvements, it is time for us to see if we will get some extra frames as well, and for how much longer you can actually enjoy your games when being out and about. Not much has changed in terms of the core specifications, and the Ally is still powered by AMD's Z1 Extreme, a custom 8-core CPU paired with Team Red's 780M specifically designed for mobile handheld consoles. New for this year is the 24GB RAM config, which is also quite a bit faster than before, and storage was also doubled to give you more breathing room for all of your favorite games. As always, you can find our affiliate links with updated prices below. These help us grow the channel quite a bit, so please do us the favor and use them when shopping for your next tech purchase. The chassis has been refined quite significantly, and in addition to being black, thank you Asus, it also feels a lot better in your hands. The original Ally was great from a portability perspective, since it was super flat, so you could easily take it with you, but for me at least, it got uncomfortable to hold after a while. The Ally X is betting on much deeper and much more ergonomic grips, and they are very nice to hold even for longer gaming sessions. Chassis quality is good, with no creaking, bending or other instability issues, but because of the redesigned grips, new cooling solution and bigger battery, the X gained some weight. I would say it does not really make it less mobile, but it's something to keep in mind. In the I/O department we are getting a second USB-C, while the XG Mobile port was axed from the previous generation. It's USB 4 though, so you can still connect this one to an external GPU, or get a dock to use the Ally as your main PC, powering your entire desk setup. The microSD card reader provides excellent read speeds and average transfer rates. If a 1TB SSD is still not enough for your entire Steam library, getting inside the Ally X is actually pretty easy. You just have to be careful with the single ribbon cable to the buttons on the back. But once inside, you get access to a full-size 2280 NVMe slot, and it looks like you can still mod your joysticks and all of that, which is great news for potential future third-party upgrades or alternatives. Speaking of joysticks, there was nothing inherently wrong with the original Ally, but Asus made the rings around them much smoother, which does feel a lot better. And overall, you should hardly find much to complain about when it comes to inputs. Everything feels the part and is easy to reach, so your fingers should feel right at home. Again, the display is most likely the same as in the original Ally, and while it's still only covering sRGB, the main party trick here is once again VRR, which is a godsend for tear-free gaming, especially on handhelds, where you will most likely deal with frame rates around or below 60 FPS a lot. Having this variable refresh really helps to smooth things out significantly. The rest of our measurements reveal solid numbers across the board, and while Valve has the edge with its OLED, I would say the Ally comes in a very close second when it comes to handheld displays. Alright folks, let's talk performance. While pure CPU grunt is not the most important aspect in a handheld, the Ally still performs admirably but loses some points against its predecessor in our CPU rating. In our PCMark system performance test though, it easily outpaces all other competitors, and this is most likely the result of the more generous and much faster RAM configuration. The 1TB SSD provides good transfer rates and only shows some minor fluctuations during the last few runs of our torture tests, but you should hardly run into trouble during regular use. So how about graphics performance? Well, RAM speeds matter a lot, especially on integrated GPUs. And it shows in our synthetics, since the Ally X is once again able to secure the top spot in our testing, even though the competition is mostly betting on the same silicon. MSI's Claw, to this day the only Intel-powered handheld, is following a very close second here. But this is of course a gaming device, so let's talk games. In our 1080p rating, we get a similar picture to our synthetic tests, even though the differences in actual FPS are definitely not night and day. And even in more recent games, the Ally X is definitely one of the fastest handhelds you can get your hands on right now, even though it's sometimes just a couple of frames here and there. We tested a bunch of games for you in different resolutions, settings and performance modes. So please enjoy our results, and for much more insight, please head on over to our written review. This is also the perfect opportunity to hit that like and sub button if you feel entertained and informed up until now. Fan noise is overall very dependent on the chosen performance mode, and while turbo is quite audible, especially when connected to an outlet, performance, which is actually more like a balanced setting, is very quiet. Please enjoy our noise samples, and once again, for more info about temperatures, our measured dB numbers and things like stress test behavior for the Ally X, check out our written review. But let's finally talk battery life, since this is not only the biggest change, but it was also the major Achilles heel of the original. And well, the doubled capacity also results in basically twice the runtimes in our gaming tests, even though we switched from Witcher 3 to Cyberpunk recently, so keep that in mind for these results. Dialing things back to the performance mode gives you another hour, and if you really want to tune things to extend battery life as much as possible, you can probably squeeze out even more. In our standard web surfing test, the Ally's results are simply impressive once more, with almost 16 hours with the display at 150 nits and a still very respectable 12 hours and 21 minutes at full brightness. So when it comes to endurance away from the wall, only the Steam Deck OLED can actually compete or perform better than the Ally X, thanks to its much lower powered custom APU. But the Windows competition is left in the dust quite spectacularly. Alright folks, that should be it for now. To make it short, if you are looking into buying a handheld and want the flexibility of Windows, the ROG Ally X would be your best option right now. It is the most refined gaming handheld in the space unless you need a bigger display. It's on point ergonomically, and the VRR-enabled display makes tearing a thing of the past. It's also the fastest handheld in most of our testing to date, even though the differences are sometimes only marginal. But first and foremost, it's a ton of fun to enjoy your games on this one. Only its turbo profile when connected to the wall is quite loud, while it is very well behaved in the other modes, making some casual couch gaming without headphones a great experience. And then there's battery life. With the added capacity, Asus effectively mitigated the major problem of Windows handhelds right now. And we are not just talking about the original Ally, but basically all other competing devices. And I'm sure that this will mark a trend in the industry to equip these mobile consoles with bigger batteries from here on out to stay competitive. The Steam Deck OLED is still a little bit ahead, but it also delivers nowhere near the performance of the Ally X. That said, this one comes at a premium for now, and if you are not that dependent on battery life and want to save a few bucks, the original Ally is still on sale. And I'm sure we will see some significant price drops in the months to come. And you can basically get almost the same performance if you can live with its shortcomings. If you want to see how that one stacks up to the competition, please check out our comparison video from a few weeks ago. But please folks, let me know what you think. Sound off in the comments below. That shall be it for today. Thanks a ton for watching. Please leave your like and sub on your way out, and I cannot wait to see you all in the next one. Take care.